You're watching a football game. The fans are silent. A player is on the field laying down and he's getting helped off by a coach or on a stretcher. If you're a fan of football, this is a common sight to see. Today I'll be showing you why football is too dangerous and what you can do to make it safer. Through my extensive research from being a lifelong fan of the game, former player, the research I've done for this, and hopefully being a future coach, I have found the answer to why the sport is too dangerous and what you can do to help. Today we will talk about, first, why it's dangerous, second, the effect of the sport, the effect of the injuries, and third, what you can do to help. First, why it's dangerous. According to Stacy Teacher of the article New York Teen Dies and Is the Sport Too Dangerous? And Jeff Jensen and Teens in Football, A Dangerous Mix. Football is a sport that has contact in every play, so it immediately makes it more dangerous than most sports like baseball or basketball. The goal of this is to beat the other team, and it's a rough game, so your goal is to inflict pain on the player. So it's not like they're trying to necessarily be safe while they're tackling. That's not their job. Goal of it is to hurt that player and to make them not want to come at you the next play. There is not very many rules for player safety. There is more today, but that's a more recent event. We'll talk about that more later. And these rules, even these new rules, are not very enforced at the lower levels. The NFL, they've done a lot better of calling those, but you play youth leagues, high schools, middle schools, junior high, they're not usually calling those targeting fouls. Second, the effect of these football injuries on players. So according to Austin Murphy in the article In Game and Stephen Nichols and the health status of retired players, concussions are the most common injury in football. Happens when you get your head and your brain shakes around in your skull. You get a concussion. It's very common, which is sad to say because it's one of the most dangerous injuries you can get in a sport. Concussion is probably one of the most common in football, besides maybe a sprained ankle. And from that, you could get CTE. It's an effect of many concussions that many lifelong football players have. There's also injuries such as ankle sprains, knees, shoulders, elbows, mostly your joints. And the effect these had on you is many retired NFL players and some just high school and college players have trouble sleeping at night, terrible back problems, memory loss, and if they have CTE, they have heightened aggression and the other effects of that disease, including bad memory. Third is the changes that can help and changes that are being made and what you can do to help. According to Gary in the article USA Football Focuses on Safety, and Alan Schwartz and Safety Commission push for better helmets. So some of the changes that can be made are less contact in practice. So you're practicing, you don't need to be having contact 24/7 like it is in the game. Keep each other healthy. Also, new rules. Like the NFL, like I said earlier, the NFL is finally starting to make new targeting rules. The best thing you can do is make new rules for player safety and continue to enforce them better. And third, to teach better technique. In rugby, they wear no pads and they hit almost as much as they do in football, yet there's way less injuries. That's because in rugby they have no pads, so they have to find a way to tackle and hit players that can, in turn, not hurt them. So they do a hawk tackle, form of tackling with the head behind the player and rolling through. And then last, to have safer equipment. There's so much money being poured into research on better helmets, better shoulder pads, knee pads, all that stuff to make the player safety. In conclusion, we talk about first, why the sport is dangerous, second, the effects of the sport being dangerous, and third, the changes being made to make the sport less dangerous. Now, from what I showed you, what you have to do to help is very simple. The NFL wants to make the game safer. They're just nervous and so they'll be losing fans and people will think football is becoming too soft. Just support that. You want to make football safer so it will last longer. And the NFL if the NFL starts to change, those other levels will just follow behind because they set the top thing. right now the NFL's scared, so the lower levels are having to do stuff. Also, if your kids are playing, your friends, make sure that anytime you see someone that is being taught the right way, not tackling with your head down, head up, simple stuff like that. It's an